What does it truly mean to be strong? Is it about wealth, power, or physical dominance? Or is real strength something much deeper, something unshakable within? We live in a world that confuses loudness with confidence and aggression with strength. Social media glorifies those who argue the loudest, who seek validation, who display power externally. But history tells a different story. The people we truly respect, the ones who leave a lasting legacy, are rarely the ones who shout. They are the ones who possess inner resilience, quiet confidence, and unbreakable discipline. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled during war and plague, yet never lost control of his emotions. Or Warren Buffett, who remains calm while financial markets crumble around him. Or Nelson Mandela, who endured decades of imprisonment without letting bitterness consume him. These individuals share something in common. True strength is not about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius put it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But here's the real question. Are you truly strong? Not in the way society defines it, but in the way the greatest minds throughout history, especially the Stoics, understood it. Do you control your emotions, or do they control you? Do you stay calm in chaos? Do you hold on to your principles even when it's difficult? In this article, we will uncover 9 undeniable signs that you are a truly strong person, not by society's shallow definition, but by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Which of these traits do you already possess? Which one do you want to develop? Let's begin this journey of true strength together. 1. You control your emotions instead of letting them control you. There is no greater display of strength than mastering your emotions. A person who cannot control their anger, fear, or frustration is at the mercy of their impulses, like a ship without a captain, tossed by every passing storm. But a truly strong person, they remain steady. They feel emotions, but they do not become slaves to them. Think of Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest leaders in history. He had a habit of writing hot letters filled with all the frustration, anger, and disappointment he felt in the heat of the moment. But here's the key: he never sent them. He let them sit in his desk, unread, until his emotions cooled. Most of those letters were never delivered, because by the time he reread them, he realized silence was the wiser choice. How often do we say things in anger that we later regret? How often do we make decisions out of fear that lead us in the wrong direction? A strong person understands that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of acting on them can last forever. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, faced betrayals, political attacks, and constant criticism. But instead of reacting emotionally, he followed this principle. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Anger, fear, jealousy, and frustration are fleeting, but the words spoken in rage, the impulsive decisions made in fear, those can change your life. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague publicly criticizes your work. Your heart pounds. Your instinct screams to defend yourself immediately. You want to lash out, to prove them wrong. But what if you did nothing? What if instead of reacting, you simply took a deep breath, held your composure, and observed? Silence, in that moment, is power. Your colleagues expect you to react. The one who criticized you expects a counterattack. But when you refuse to engage emotionally, something interesting happens. They are left exposed. Their words hang in the air, unchallenged, while you remain poised and unshaken. This is what it means to be truly strong. It's not about never feeling emotions. It's about learning to recognize them, acknowledge them, and choose your response carefully. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you reacted emotionally and later wished you hadn't? What could you have done differently? A simple exercise to master emotional control. Next time you feel anger rising, try the 10-second rule. Take a deep breath and count to 10 before responding. Ask yourself, will what I say now solve the problem or make it worse? If in doubt, choose silence or respond later with a clear mind. This small habit can change your life. It will stop you from saying things you regret, making rash decisions, or falling into emotional traps set by others. Now, imagine a world where you control your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Imagine how much stronger, calmer, and more respected you would be. Are you ready to master your emotions? Drop a comment. I choose strength over impulse. And if this insight resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this today, because true strength starts from within. 2. You are not easily offended. Imagine walking into a room and someone mocks the way you dress, criticizes your ideas, or questions your intelligence. How do you respond? Do you immediately feel offended, ready to defend yourself, or even attack in return? Or do you remain unbothered, letting their words pass like wind through an open window? A truly strong person understands this. Words only have power if you give them power. One of the greatest examples of this principle comes from Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome. As one of the most powerful men in history, he faced constant criticism, mockery, and betrayal, even from those closest to him. But instead of reacting emotionally, he followed a simple belief. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Epictetus. In other words, no one can offend you without your permission. The insult itself is meaningless. It is your reaction that gives it weight. Let's consider a modern scenario. Imagine you're in a meeting at work and a colleague subtly undermines your idea in front of everyone. Your initial instinct might be to snap back, correct them, or even feel humiliated. But a strong person does something different. They observe. They let the moment pass without showing irritation. And here's the power move. When you don't react, you rob the other person of control. They expect you to fight back, to get emotional, to prove them right. But when you stay calm and indifferent, their insult loses all meaning. The test of true strength. There's an old story about Diogenes, the famous Cynic philosopher. One day, a man insulted him in the marketplace, calling him worthless. Instead of reacting, Diogenes calmly said, "Ah, but what if I am?" and continued walking. He understood what most people don't, that an insult is only effective if the person receiving it accepts it as true. Think about it. If someone called you a thief, but you have never stolen anything in your life, would you be offended? Number because their words do not match your reality. Now ask yourself, how many times have I let meaningless words affect my emotions? Have I ever responded to criticism in a way that made things worse? A strong person does not let the opinions of others define them. They know their worth. They understand that external noise should never dictate their internal peace. How to build unshakable mental strength. Next time someone criticizes you, try this exercise. Pause before responding, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is just their opinion, not reality. Ask yourself, does this really matter? Will this affect your life a week from now, a year from now? Most likely not. Redirect your energy. Instead of wasting time on negativity, use criticism as fuel for growth. This doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. Constructive criticism helps us improve. But there's a difference between learning from useful advice and being emotionally controlled by baseless insults. A strong person knows the difference. If you're ready to stop being easily offended, drop a comment. I control my emotions, not others' words. And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Because true strength is not about fighting every battle, it's about knowing which ones aren't worth your energy. 3. You accept what you cannot control. Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully we plan, how much effort we put in, or how much we prepare, there will always be things beyond our control. The weather, the economy, the opinions of others, the past. These are all forces we cannot change. And yet, how much energy do we waste trying to fight them? A truly strong person understands this simple truth. Resisting what you cannot change is like trying to stop the ocean with your hands. It is not only pointless, but also exhausting. Instead of wishing reality were different, they focus on what they can control: their mindset, their actions, and their response to life's challenges. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, embodied this lesson. He had no control over his early life. He was born into slavery, mistreated, and physically disabled. But did he waste time complaining or resenting his fate? He turned his focus inward. He trained his mind to be untouchable no matter what happened around him. He famously said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not." Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One is furious, honking, shouting at the cars ahead, filled with frustration. The other remains calm, listening to music, accepting the situation. The first person believes their anger will somehow change the traffic. It won't. The second person understands the Stoic mindset. If you cannot change the situation, change how you experience it. Now think about your own life. Have you ever obsessed over something that was out of your control? Maybe it was a mistake you made years ago, an opportunity you lost, or the way someone treated you unfairly. You replayed the scenario in your mind, wishing you could go back and change it. But you can't. No one can. The past is fixed, but what you do next is entirely in your hands. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest leaders, ruled an empire while facing wars, betrayals, and plagues. Yet he remained calm and unshaken because he understood a powerful Stoic lesson. You don't control external events, only your reaction to them. He wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the key difference between a weak person and a strong person. The weak person fights reality, wishing things were different, wasting time on complaints and regrets. The strong person adapts, accepts, and moves forward. Now ask yourself, am I holding on to something I cannot change? Is my energy being wasted on things outside my control? The next time you find yourself frustrated by something beyond your power, try this simple exercise. Ask yourself, can I change this? If the answer is no, let it go. Redirect your focus to something productive, your goals, your mindset, your actions. Practice mental toughness by reminding yourself, I only control myself, and that is enough. The strongest people in history were not those who tried to bend the world to their will. They were the ones who mastered themselves in the face of an uncontrollable world. Are you ready to stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable? Drop a comment. I focus only on what I can control. And if this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Because true power lies in letting go of what you cannot change and mastering what you can. 4. You remain calm in chaos. Strength is not just about how much you can endure. It's about how well you can stay composed when everything around you is falling apart. True strength is measured not in moments of comfort, but in times of crisis. And the rarest, most powerful kind of person, the one who remains calm while the world panics. Think about the last time you were in a stressful situation. Maybe it was a sudden work crisis, an argument spiraling out of control, or bad news that shattered your expectations. How did you react? Did you let the pressure consume you? Or did you take a breath and handle the moment with clarity? Marcus Aurelius, a man who led an empire during war, famine, and disease, lived by a simple principle: your mind is the fortress, and no external event can shake you unless you allow it. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, it's not the event that disturbs you, but your interpretation of it. Imagine two people on a sinking ship. One is panicking, screaming, running around aimlessly. The other is focused, scanning for solutions, thinking clearly. Both are in the same crisis, but only one is truly in control. The difference? The strong person refuses to let fear cloud their judgment. Now let's bring this into real life. You're in a heated argument with someone. They're raising their voice, trying to provoke you. The old version of you might have reacted instantly, firing back, getting caught in the emotional whirlwind. But now, you pause, you observe, you let them wear themselves out while you remain unshaken. Eventually they will notice something unsettling. They cannot control you, and that alone shifts the power in your favor. History is full of people who stayed calm when others lost control. Think of Winston Churchill during World War II, giving speeches of resilience while bombs fell over London. Think of Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, yet emerging with an unbreakable spirit. These men didn't let chaos define them. They defined themselves in the face of chaos. So what about you? How do you train yourself to become that person, the one who stays calm, focused, and in control, no matter what happens? It starts with a simple practice: pause before reacting. Have you ever been in a moment of chaos but stayed calm? What happened? Here's a challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever you feel tension rising, whether it's stress, frustration, or fear, take a deliberate pause before responding. Take a slow breath and count to 3 before speaking. Ask yourself, am I controlling my reaction, or is the situation controlling me? Lower your voice. When others get louder, speak softer. Control is silent. Panic is loud. This single habit will change the way you handle stress, conflict, and unexpected situations. Because the truth is, life will always bring challenges, but how you respond to them is what defines you. If you're ready to master this skill, drop a comment below. I remain calm in all situations. And if this wisdom resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Because in the end, true strength is not in how loud you are, it's in how steady you remain when the world shakes. 5. You do not seek validation from others. There is a kind of freedom that only a few people in this world ever experience, the freedom of not needing approval. A truly strong person does not rely on applause, likes, or external validation to feel worthy. They do not change their beliefs just to fit in. They do not crave recognition to feel successful. They know who they are, and that is enough. But here's the truth. Society conditions us to seek approval. From childhood, we are rewarded for good behavior and criticized for stepping out of line. Social media thrives on this weakness, feeding our desire for likes, shares, and recognition. And yet, the strongest people in history are those who refuse to live for the approval of others. Think about Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled one of the greatest empires in history. Despite having absolute power, he never let the opinions of others dictate his actions. He wrote, It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinion than our own. Most people live in constant fear of judgment. They hesitate before speaking, afraid of sounding foolish. They hold back their dreams because they worry about what others will think. But a strong person does not ask, "Will they approve of me?" They ask, "Do I approve of myself?" Imagine you have a vision, a dream, a goal that excites you. You share it with your friends, but instead of support, you receive skepticism. That's risky. Are you sure? What if you fail? At that moment you have two choices: abandon your dream to seek their approval, or trust yourself and move forward. A strong person always chooses the second path. Take Elon Musk, for example. When he started Tesla and SpaceX, people laughed. Experts predicted failure. Investors walked away. But Musk didn't seek validation. He focused on execution. Now, those same doubters admire what he built. This is the secret. Greatness is often misunderstood at first. Now ask yourself, how often do I let the opinions of others stop me from doing what I truly want? Do I seek approval before making decisions, or do I trust myself? A strong person values self-respect over social approval. They understand that living for the expectations of others is a guaranteed path to frustration. They choose authenticity over popularity. Here's how you can develop this mindset. The who cares test. Before worrying about what people think, ask yourself, will their opinion matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, stop caring today. Decide based on your values. Before making a choice, ask, is this what I truly want, or am I just trying to impress someone? Detach from praise and criticism. If compliments lift you up too much, criticism will destroy you. Stay steady regardless of external opinions. Imagine how powerful you would be if you never let other people's opinions dictate your path. Imagine pursuing your goals with full confidence, not needing validation, not seeking approval, just acting from a place of inner strength. If you're ready to live without seeking permission, drop a comment. I trust myself first. And if this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because in the end, true strength is living life on your own terms, without waiting for the world's approval. 6. You take full responsibility for your life. Weak people blame. Strong people own their actions, their choices, and ultimately their destiny. They do not waste time making excuses, pointing fingers, or waiting for external forces to change their circumstances. Instead, they embrace the simple yet powerful truth: your life is your responsibility. Imagine two people facing the same setback, let's say losing a job. The first person immediately blames the economy, their boss, or bad luck. They feel powerless, like a victim of forces beyond their control. The second person, however, takes a different approach. They ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of dwelling on what happened, they focus on what comes next. That is the difference between weakness and strength. Marcus Aurelius, who faced wars, betrayals, and constant pressure as emperor, never allowed himself the luxury of self-pity. Instead, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, life is unpredictable, but your response to it is always within your control. A strong person understands that bad things happen to everyone, but it is how you respond that defines you. Think about someone who has achieved extraordinary success. Do you think they never faced obstacles? Do you think they never had reasons to quit? Of course they did. But what separates them is not their circumstances, it is their mindset. They refuse to see themselves as victims. They refuse to wait for someone to rescue them. They take full responsibility. Let's take an example from history. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Most people, after so much injustice, would come out bitter, resentful, or defeated. But not Mandela. He chose responsibility over resentment. He chose to lead, to forgive, to take control of his life despite the hardships. That's true strength. Now ask yourself, do I take full responsibility for my actions, or do I blame circumstances? Am I waiting for something external to change before I take action? Weakness makes excuses, strength finds solutions, and here's the truth. The moment you stop blaming and start taking ownership, you become powerful. If you want to adopt this mindset, start with these steps. Eliminate victim language. Remove phrases like, "It's not my fault," or "I had no choice." Instead ask, "What can I do about this?" Accept mistakes as lessons. Everyone fails, but strong people turn failures into fuel. Own your emotions. No one makes you angry or sad. You choose how you respond. A truly strong person never waits for perfect conditions. They never say, "I'll be happy when," or "I'll take action once things get better." They start now with whatever they have, wherever they are. Imagine the version of you who takes full ownership of everything in your life, who never waits, never complains, never looks for someone else to take charge. That person is unstoppable. If you're ready to take full control of your life, drop a comment. I am responsible for my destiny. And if this resonates with you, share it with someone who needs this message today. Because in the end, real strength is not about controlling the world, it's about mastering yourself. 7. You are comfortable being alone. Most people fear solitude. They avoid silence, distract themselves with noise, and seek constant validation from others. But a truly strong person does not fear being alone. They embrace it. They understand that solitude is not loneliness. It is a source of power, clarity, and self-mastery. Imagine a person who cannot sit in silence without checking their phone, turning on music, or seeking company. They rely on external stimulation to feel whole. But now, picture someone who can sit alone with their thoughts, content, undisturbed, at peace. That person is unshakable. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he spent hours in solitude, writing his reflections in meditations. He believed that true strength comes from within, not from the approval or presence of others. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Think about it. If you cannot be alone with yourself, how can you expect to be truly strong? If you constantly need company to feel validated, then your happiness is dependent on others. A strong person, however, is self-sufficient. They do not need distractions to avoid their own thoughts. They use solitude to think deeply, reflect, and grow stronger. Now let's take a modern example. Bill Gates, one of the most successful people in the world, takes Think Weeks. 7 days of complete isolation to read, reflect, and strategize. Why? Because he understands that deep thinking requires solitude. Without distractions, the mind can operate at its highest level. But what about you? How do you feel when you're alone? Do you see it as an opportunity for growth, or do you immediately seek distractions? Can you sit in silence for 10 minutes without reaching for your phone? Do you spend time with yourself, or do you always need to be around others? A strong person doesn't fill every moment with noise. They use solitude as a tool for self-awareness, creativity, and discipline. They understand that the most important conversations in life are the ones you have with yourself. Here's how to cultivate this strength. Schedule alone time. Dedicate 30 minutes a day to silence, thinking, or journaling. Detach from constant stimulation. Reduce unnecessary social media TV, or background noise. Embrace discomfort. If solitude feels uneasy at first, lean into it. Strength is built through challenge. Imagine the version of you that doesn't fear being alone, the version that finds power in stillness, who is self-sufficient, who doesn't rely on others to feel complete. That person is truly strong. If you're ready to embrace solitude as a source of strength, drop a comment. I am at peace with myself. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because in the end, true strength is not found in the crowd. It is found in knowing that you are enough, just as you are. 8. You control your reactions instead of letting emotions control you. Life will test you. People will provoke you. Situations will challenge you. But here's what separates the strong from the weak. Do you react impulsively, or do you respond with discipline and control? Most people live like leaves in the wind, easily swayed by circumstances, driven by emotions, and quick to react. A single insult can ruin their day. A minor inconvenience can throw them off balance. But a truly strong person? They control their emotions instead of letting emotions control them. Think of Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher who was once a slave. He had every reason to be angry, bitter, or resentful. Yet, instead of reacting to the injustice of his situation, he trained himself to master his mind. He understood a simple truth. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. This is the secret. The moment someone provokes you and you react emotionally, you give them power over you. But when you remain calm, when you refuse to let external events dictate your inner state, you become untouchable. Imagine this scenario. You're driving and someone aggressively cuts you off. Most people would react instantly, honking, yelling, maybe even chasing after the driver. But what does that accomplish? Nothing. It only increases stress, ruins your mood, and hands over control to a stranger. Now imagine instead you take a deep breath, let it go, and move on as if nothing happened. That is real strength. Let's go deeper. Think about an argument with a loved one. Harsh words are exchanged, and you feel the urge to say something you'll regret. But instead, you pause. You ask yourself, will this response make things better or worse? You choose restraint. You let emotions settle before speaking. That is self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, ruled Rome with this mindset. He faced constant betrayal, criticism, and political turmoil, yet he never allowed external events to dictate his emotions. He wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now ask yourself, how often do I react emotionally instead of responding with control? Who really holds power in my life, me or my emotions? A strong person does not suppress emotions. They observe them without being ruled by them. They recognize anger, but do not act on it impulsively. They acknowledge fear, but do not let it paralyze them. They choose how they respond. Here's how you can develop this discipline. Pause before reacting. Take 3 deep breaths before responding in any emotional situation. Ask yourself, will this reaction help or hurt? If it won't improve the situation, don't engage. Train yourself to stay neutral. Instead of thinking in extremes, good, bad, right, wrong, practice seeing situations objectively, without emotional bias. Imagine the version of you who remains calm no matter what happens, who does not get angry over small things, who does not let fear stop them, who does not waste energy on pointless conflicts. That person is unstoppable. If you're ready to master your emotions, drop a comment. I control my reactions. And if this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because in the end, the strongest person is not the one who never feels emotions, but the one who refuses to be controlled by them. 9. You keep moving forward no matter what happens. Life is unfair. You will face failures, disappointments, betrayals, and unexpected hardships. But here's the real test. Do you stop, or do you keep going? A truly strong person does not quit when things become difficult. They do not let setbacks define them. They understand that pain is temporary, but perseverance is what builds character. When others complain, they adapt. When others give up, they push forward. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed over 10,000 times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Most people would have given up after 50 failures, maybe even 100. But Edison? He saw each failure as a lesson, not a reason to stop. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the mindset of the strong. Failure is not an end, it is a stepping stone. Now, picture yourself facing a challenge, a business that didn't work out, a dream that didn't come true, a goal that seems impossible. What do? Most people take failure personally. They say, "Maybe I'm not good enough." But the strong say, "What can I learn? What's my next move?" Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote something that defines true resilience. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to forge you into something stronger. Let's take a real-life example. You lose your job. A weak person sees this as a disaster. They complain, they feel hopeless, they wait for things to change. A strong person, on the other hand, uses this moment to evolve. They build new skills, they expand their network. They see it as an opportunity to reinvent themselves. Have you ever faced a setback that in the end made you stronger? Resilience is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger you become. If you want to develop unshakable perseverance, start here. Rewrite failure. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Take one step, no matter how small. Progress is progress, even if it's slow. Accept discomfort. Strength is built not in ease, but in resistance. Think about this. If you never gave up, if you always kept moving, where would you be 1 year from now? Imagine that version of yourself, the one who refuses to quit, who finds solutions instead of excuses, who stands up every time they fall. That person is unstoppable. If you're ready to keep moving forward no matter what, drop a comment, "I will not quit." And if this message inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because in the end, strength is not measured by how many times you fall, it's measured by. You've just uncovered 9 undeniable signs of true strength. But here's the real question. How many of these do you see in yourself? Are you someone who controls their emotions instead of being controlled by them? Do you take full responsibility for your life? Can you move forward no matter what? If you see these qualities in yourself, even if just 1 or 2, know this. You are stronger than most people will ever be. But strength is not something you inherit. It's something you build every single day. The moment you stop seeking approval, the moment you stay calm in chaos, the moment you embrace solitude instead of fearing it, you step into a new level of power. And the best part, no one can take it away from you. Now think about who you were a year ago. Have you grown stronger? Have you learned resilience, self-mastery, or discipline? Or do you still let the opinions of others dictate your life? If you had started applying these Stoic principles earlier, where would you be today? Here's your challenge. Pick one of these 9 signs and commit to strengthening it this week. Whether it's controlling your reactions, staying silent in the right moments, or pushing forward no matter what, Start now. And if you're ready to take full ownership of your strength, comment below, "I am stronger than I was yesterday." If this video resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your life needs to hear this message today. Hit that share button and pass it forward. And before you go, make sure you subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Every week we dive deeper into Stoic wisdom that transforms your mindset, sharpens your discipline, and elevates your life. The strongest people don't just listen to wisdom, they live by it. If you're ready to become one of them, hit that subscribe button now